Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our pumpkin patch tea light. A very cute little project. We've got a lot of different elements involved here, which is fun. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put together our little rosette. So if I were you, I would get that hot glue gun fired up. And actually, you know what? Probably don't need it just yet, but you're going to have two strips like this. And in order to assemble this correctly, what you want to do is, well, I inked one side of it. This is the side that's going to be visible. We're going to start with the first fold as a mountain fold. So we're going to make that first fold a mountain fold. So you can see what I mean by mountain. You're shaping it like a mountain. And then we're just going to go back and forth until we have the entire thing folded. Okay. So we're going to join these two together. Okay. And we're going to end on a valley fold. We'll just leave that like that. Now with this one, we're going to start with a valley fold. So we're folding it down to create a valley on the first one. And then we'll just continue folding back and forth on the rest of them. Okay, just like that. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do, and you can see why we did it that way. We did it that way because we need to join these together. And when we have a valley and a mountain, it's much easier to glue them together. Okay, because if we had a valley here and a valley here, we'd have to glue it like this, and that just kind of throws things off. Okay, so we need our little valley and mountain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this piece here. Of course, I left for 10 minutes and my glue bottle was already dried up. Wow. Okay, that's how you know it's really dry now in the fall. Let me give that a little poke. That should do it. There we go. Okay, back in business here. All right, so just a little bit of glue on that piece there. We'll grab the other one and just join it. And what I like to do is just fold it like that and then just give it a press like that. You can fold more of them if you want, and then just give it a good press. And now we have one solid piece, okay? And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna loop it around. This is kind of weird, okay? You can kind of make it nice and tight if it helps. But what we need to do is join these two pieces together. So I'm not overly concerned about the shape of it right now, but what I am gonna do is put some glue on this piece here, and this is how it's going to look. So we're just going to pop that right on top there. Don't worry about the shape, just make sure that you have it connected at the right spot. Okay, and press that into place. So now we have one solid loop, and then what you can do is you just take it, just kind of flare it out, and there is our rosette. Okay, so what we're going to do next, and this is where the hot glue gun is going to come into place. Let's get that fired up. Mine only takes a few moments to warm up. To hold this in place, we've got this piece, the letter T, that's for top. That's going to go right here, and that's going to hold it in place. Now, what I actually really want to do, though, is flip this around, and I have these two pieces here. We're going to use these on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to let that go for a second. I'm going to glue these two together. You can see one says B for bottom. Okay, and I'm going to put some glue on this, and the bottom is going to be 2 layers thick. I just want this to be extra strong. Just pop those 2 circles right on top of themselves, like so. Okay, no one's really going to see this, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so there's our top, because this is the texture side that I've inked, and this is the bottom. Okay, so give that a good squeeze, push it in as far as it'll go. Grab your hot glue gun, and I'm going to start around the outside a little bit. Don't worry if you get some in the little gaps there. Just hold it in place. Okay, just like that, roughly. Get a good amount on there, then squeeze that back in. Okay, and hold it. Whoops. And then you just need to pop that right on there. Try to get it as centered as you can, just like that. And just hold. There we go. Should be nice and tight in the center. And then take and apply some right to the center here. We don't want to go too far out. Just keep it mostly in the center. Come on, swirly. There we go. And do your best to get that as centered as you can. There we go. Beautiful little rosette. That will act as the base for our little pumpkin once we get him all created. Okay, just do your best to get that as centered as possible. And that looks great. Okay. All right, so our base is done. Nice and sturdy, nice and sharp. Put that off to the side. Next, we're going to grab this guy here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on this tab. And we'll spread that glue out, like so. And what you can do, actually, you can put this down flat, grab the other end, and just press that right down onto that surface there. I'm going to take and fold it over onto the seam that I just put glue on. Okay, and now we have this little shape. Okay, next we're going to take and push those tabs down, apply some glue to each of these tabs, and then just kind of dab the top of these, spread that glue out on the entire tab, and then bring the lid down. Focus on getting it lined up with the side opposite of the side that it's hinged at. And then if you need to, might need to kind of nudge things around a little bit to get everything to line up properly. Run your finger along the very edge. I'm going to flip this over real quick. Grab a nice thick dowel, and you can push down on the tabs from the inside, just like that. Okay, let's take a look at this is the bottom, so no one's really going to see it, but we do want to make sure that it is structurally sound, and it is. Okay, next what we need to do is we need to take this piece and we need to glue it down inside of this. Okay, so this is a little different, but don't be alarmed. It's not difficult. It should slide in nicely. And then what I'm going to do, just slide it in. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to use our little painting method to get this in there. Make sure that your scrap piece of paper is no wider than the width of one of these sides. And I'm literally just going to take some glue and apply some of this glue onto my scrap piece of paper. And there's no glue on this side here, so we can literally run that against the back of the structure and just paint a little bit of glue on that tab, and make sure that that little tab there is flush with the top, and just press that down into place and hold it for a moment. Let it set, just like that. No problem at all. Then we'll put a little more glue on our little scrap piece. We're going to flip this over, or go over to the side opposite of the side that we just put glue on. And again, maybe helpful to have something thin, maybe just another, which side? There's the side that I glued down. We'll kind of just use something else to move this tab out of the way temporarily. And I can also kind of bring it up. It's a little weird, it's a little different, not a big deal though. Okay, I'll just move that out of the way and paint some glue right on that tab, like so. I'm going to bring that down, push it up against the side, make sure it's nice and flush with the top. Yeah, I don't think we've ever really done anything like this. I don't think. Okay. And what I would do before moving on here is take and, I may need to use some tweezers or something. I'm going to take and pull this back up a little bit. There we go. That worked nicely. Okay. And then just pick another tab, it doesn't matter which one at this point, and just kind of fold it back a little bit. And grab your scrap piece, throw a little glue on there, And let's paint it right on that tab. You don't even need to get the whole tab, but chances are you'll get most of it. Okay, and then press it up against the side, again making sure it's flush with the top of this main structure, and press and hold. Okay, and now since we did this side, I'm going to move over to this side. Okay, and let me grab my tweezers so I can pull this back just a little bit, just enough to get my scrap in there. There we go, just like that. Grab my scrap piece, throw a little more glue on there, and just paint it right on the tab. Perfect. Pull that up, make sure it's flush with the top of the structure. Okay, and that just leaves these two here. I might actually still have a little bit of glue left. That's plenty. Press that up against the side. Give that a few seconds to set, and that just leaves this guy here. The rest of them are already in place, so that one is pretty easy to move. Okay, a little bit of glue. And apply, just like that. You can see that glue in there. And press that up against the side. Okay, wonderful. So now, what we're going to do, you can see what the object of this is here. The object is, you'll notice that there's a little score mark here. What we want to do is match that up like that. Okay, and then this is going to go right inside here. So we don't even need to worry about training this. It's automatically just going to kind of take on the correct position without us even having to do anything at all. Okay. So let's begin doing that. I'm going to go ahead, and you want to put glue on the underside of this tab. Okay. And you can literally do this flat. So I'm going to take this tab now and pop it right into that little area that we just created. Okay, so it should sit like that, just like that. We'll just keep that flat. Okay, so let's keep going here. Again, I'm applying glue to this tab on the underside. If you're using AC cardstock, it's on the smooth side, not the texture side. And then this one's going to go right next door, right next to the previous one. It doesn't matter technically. You can put it wherever, and you can also fold it over like this if it makes it easier to kind of squeeze it into place. Okay, just like that. And we'll move on to the next one. So these are pretty easy, I think. One of those projects where you could definitely make a handful of these, and it wouldn't even be that much work, honestly. These are pretty simple, not a lot of dimensional work to do, although it will turn out looking very dimensional because of the way it was designed. Okay, there we go. Try to keep that nice and straight, just like that. Moving on to the next one. Just like that. And line that up. Just give that a press and hold it. Make sure it's all the way on there. There we go. Just a couple more. Looks kind of strange right now, but we'll get there. Okay, a little bit of glue right there. Again, flip that down, line that up, and then I'm literally just folding it over and pressing down from both sides here. Pretty fancy. Okay, that just leaves one more. Then of course we have little panels that we're going to put those on once we get the basic shape of this created, because we don't want to try to shape 2 layers of paper at the same time. That usually ends in, well, it usually creates more work because they tend to kind of come apart Okay, all right, so there's that. And as I mentioned, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue this down using this tab to kind of push this. You can kind of fold it a little bit and push it against the surface here just to make sure that you do in fact have the tab in the correct spot. And then we'll let it go. It'll pop back into the correct position. So throw a little glue on there, fold it over, and then press that right onto the side. And once you know you have it exactly where it needs to be, nice and centered, the score mark should go right against this very edge here. Then you can let it go and just keep holding while this makes contact with the bottom. Just like that. Okay, move over to the next one. Throw a little bit of glue on there. Thin it out, speed up the drying process. Bring that over. And again, center it, kind of pushing down to make sure that this thing is as far as it'll go, so that score mark matches up with the edge. And just continue to hold. There we go, and you can see how consistent that's all gonna look based on how this was engineered. Really cool. Kudos to the team for that. That's really cool. Okay, again, fold that over, kind of pushing down up against the side here, matching up the edge with the score mark, and then I'll hold down. There we go, moving right along. And you'll notice here that I'm kind of moving at a pretty good pace here, and that is mostly because I have I'm putting just the right amount of glue on there so that it stays, but it doesn't take ages to dry. Okay, there we go, holding that in place. Wonderful. Moving right along. Next one, we got 2 more to go. And then we just have some panels and really not much to it. Very cool little piece. I think this would be great for a little, like a fall wedding too, actually. If you're having a fall wedding, you want some cool little handmade centerpieces that light up, because you know a lot of times at weddings you'll have some sort of light feature on each table just to kind of create some nice ambiance. And this would be a really cool little thing to add to a table. This could be at home too, obviously. Okay, there we go. So that's that. Let's take a look here. You can see how beautiful and symmetrical that looks. Okay. All right, so it's panel time. And you'll notice that on each of these sections, there are a series of little markers. Okay, and these markers are there to help you with the positioning, but also to help you make sure that you are using the right side, because this side is a little bit thicker than this side. You'll notice if I do this, it doesn't fit. Okay, so as I mentioned, just make sure that you're putting the right end at the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start by just gluing the very top into place. Okay, spread that glue out all the way to the very edge. And this actually is some Easter paper. Just so happened that it worked out for fall. Okay, just get that right in place. And give that a little press. You can kind of push those out of the way. And just hold that in place for a few moments. Just like that. Okay, and what we'll do, we'll flip this over and apply our glue to the rest of this. I would just focus the glue on the perimeter and especially the bottom. Don't use a lot of glue either. You don't need a lot. A little is going to go a long way. Okay, and then we'll just slowly bring this down and just make sure that it's making good contact throughout, all the way down to the bottom. When you get to this point here, try to make sure it's centered. And just press that into place and then hold the bottom until it's fully set. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Here we go. Looks great. Now, because of my embossing, it looks as if there's some areas that are not making contact, but that's not the case. Okay, so we're just gonna keep on moving. Do the same thing on the next piece until we get all of the panels in place. Okay, there we go. And again, just make sure that you've got that nice and lined up with the little markers there. And just hold that in place while it sets. Okay. Looks good. We'll flip her over. And again, work the perimeter mostly. That's all we really need. And the bottom. There we go, just like that. And grab your fingers on each side and slowly bring it down. Try to make sure that you've got a nice even border all the way around. There we go. It's a little harder to get my fingers in there on the left side, but that's okay. It's still working nicely. And just press and hold at the bottom there. If you had a little glue that squirts out, just rub that off before. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. That's looking sharp. Okay, moving on. So this process is going to get pretty redundant. This would be a good time to just kind of pause me, and if you want to finish this up at your own pace, you can. Then fast forward, whatever you want to do, or just hang out. That's fine too. Okay, just again, make sure you got this nice and lined up at the top, because that's going to kind of set the tone for the rest of this. And a little glue squirt out there. Just going to rub that off before it does any damage, so to speak. Okay, I'll flip it over and I'll try to be a little more thorough with my glue placement here, making sure that I'm definitely getting glue out to the perimeter here. It's a little tough to see where I'm applying the glue because of the color of the pattern paper on the back side, but that's okay. Okay, and then just slowly bring it down. Make sure you're giving it a good firm press along the way so that it's making good contact. Okay, nice and firm. Then when you get towards the bottom here, there we go. Okay, just hold. Got nice clean lines there. Everything is sitting nice and flat. I can let that go, and there it is. Beautiful. All right, 3 more to go. And I'm just going to put the finishing touches on this, and we'll call it a day. Not a very difficult project at all. I think you could probably get this done in about, well, not including the cutting, probably about 40 minutes or so, maybe less, depending on how quick you are. Obviously, I spend a little extra time talking about things, discussing things, trying to help you make sure that you know what's what. So that adds a little bit of time. I think many of you could probably, and I know some of you do this, you guys scrub through the videos just to kind of get a general idea of what's going on. Many of you probably don't even need all these instructions, but everyone loves the video, so we're gonna kind of keep it how it is. Not going to change a thing. Okay, there we go. Getting it down to the bottom. Going to spread that out a little bit. Kind of changed my strategy there that time, which sometimes is good and sometimes isn't. Okay, just slowly work your way down. Make sure it's making good contact throughout. Okay. And press that down into place. Hold the bottom, especially the bottom. There we go. There we go. Okay. Looking sharp. All right, a few more to go. Again, starting at the top, throw a little glue on there, spread it all the way out to the very edge. And let's line that up using the little score marks. And just press and hold that. Just make sure that is nice and anchored. There we go. Awesome. Flip her over. And I'm going to go back to the curly Q method here. Okay. Wonderful. And let's work our way down nice and easy. Just kind of try to make contact with every little inch of that perimeter, just to make sure that it's sitting nice and flat. Okay. Now again, once we get to about here, it gets a little challenging from this side, the left side, but it's all doable. Just press and hold. There we go. Okay, that looks great. And the last one. Now, if there are any areas that you're not completely happy with as far as how it's laying down on the main structure, you can always go back in using our little painting method that we used from the top here, and you can absolutely just kind of paint those areas. Now, because this is 2 layers thick now, it's going to be a little bit harder to get your finger in there, and I don't want you to force it too much because you do risk kind of messing things up a little bit, so let's avoid that if possible. With this one here, we're just going to try to apply this panel from the surface rather than from the inside, which is definitely doable. Will not be difficult at all. Okay, so let's see if we can just go like this. Oh, see, I didn't wait long enough for the top to set. I kind of rushed it a little bit, and that's okay. There we go. And then just hold that in place. And that is making pretty good contact throughout. It's actually pretty easy. Okay, just continue holding until we have full contact. And then you can let go. There we go. Okay, just looking around here. Again, I'm going to grab my little scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on there. I've got one little area here. There's a lot of embossing happening in this area here, which is probably why it's not sitting as flat as some of the other areas. But if we give it a little extra TLC, it will certainly sit nice and flat. Hey, bud. Speaking of pumpkins, my little friend just came in and he just caught himself a mouse. Hey, bud. Yeah, he sure did. Good job, buddy. Okay, I've got one more little area here that I want to clean up. For some reason, he tends to make some really strange noises when he catches something. I don't know why he does that. What are you doing, bud? And for those of you that have semi-outdoor cats, for some reason, after they catch their prey, they like to play with them. They like fling them around to bring them back to life. Well, but I will say, we don't really have any mice in the house, so something to be said for that. Okay, now all that's left to do is we have some floral elements to put on top, and of course we need to put our pumpkin on top of our rosette, so I'm actually going to do that first. With this, I think we could just go with glue. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to go a little bit heavier with the glue here. And I'm going to put this down. I'm going to kind of stand up and just try to make sure that it's as centered as it could possibly be. I'll kind of rotate it a little bit, check it from all angles, make sure it looks good. And I think that, I'll take a look at it. Whoop, probably shouldn't have done that. Whoops. I'm kind of struggling a little bit today. Okay, try that one more time. Maybe not jump the gun so quick this time, Leo. Okay, 1 second here. Stand up and take a look at it from the top. I need to nudge it this way a little bit. And that looks perfect. Okay. All right, so I'll try not to move that around too much. I want to let it dry. Okay. And now we have 3 leaves. And what I'm going to do, you'll notice that while we have what looks like a tab there, it's not exactly a tab. For this large one, I'm going to crease and kind of roll this bottom part so that when we do put it in, it's kind of hanging down. Okay. And what you can also do, I'm going to fold it a little bit. You can also do is just take and just kind of curl these and just make them a little interesting. Give them a little shape. Okay, I'm going to take the tip of this and just kind of curl it up. Maybe this one goes up and maybe this one goes down. It's your leaf. You can do whatever you want with it. Yeah. Yep, and there goes Pumpkin's sitting there playing with his mouse. Good job, buddy. Okay, so now I'm going to throw a little bit of glue right on the inside of this guy and just pick one side, doesn't matter which side, and just tuck it right in there, just like we did that little piece that we first started off with. And just press and hold that until it's fully set. Don't want to rush it. Okay. And we'll fold that down. Now what you can also do, because the idea with this is to just have it kind of hugging one of the sides. If you want, we can train it more. I really don't want to bend this completely. I don't want to see a fold right there. So what we can actually do is just take one little foam square and put it on the underside, maybe right in the center. Pull off the backing of that and just kind of pop it right onto that surface there, just so it kind of hugs that side. Okay, we've got a couple more. These two, we're going to go opposite. Let's see here. The larger one, we're going to go on the other side, and this one maybe will be standing up just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to crease this right about here. Okay, and then again, we can take and kind of bring those down a little bit. Maybe flare that one up, this one down, this one up, just to give it a little extra dimension. And that's going to get glued right there. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Bring it down just a tad. I'll throw a little bit of glue right on this tab looking sort of thing and press that right up against the inside of that section. And then the smaller leaf, I'm going to put that right here, right to the left of it. And you know, once everything is all put in place, you can always take a look, and if we want to mess around with how things are shaped, we can do that. It's not a big deal. This guy here, this guy looks like he could use a little more ink. So I'm just going to hit him with a little more ink. That green, I used a lime green on him, and you know, it's just not showing very well. It looks kind of boring. So I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of a darker ink. So I've got like 2 greens kind of working together, and that looks much better. Okay, and this guy here, I'm going to take him and just kind of curl the very base of this around. Okay, and as I mentioned, this one here, we're going to put this one over to the left, like so. And I kind of over curled that one. I could fix that a little bit. And just throw a little bit of glue right there and push that into place. Just kind of hold it. Good old pumpkin leaves. I didn't grow any pumpkins this year. I think I might get back to that next year. I feel kind of bad that I didn't grow pumpkins. There we go. Okay, so we can play with the positioning and the shaping of the leaves there. I'm going to curl this a little bit more. I didn't get to do that. And then we also have some little tendrils that we can add. Okay, we can stick one in here. Now the little tea light's going to go right in the center there, so it'll mostly cover everything up. What I would suggest doing is getting just kind of a smaller dowel and taking the little tendrils and just kind of wrapping it around the dowel like so. Okay, because you know, if you've ever grown pumpkins, or if you've ever seen them, or not even pumpkins, zucchinis do the same thing. They have these little tendrils that help kind of hold them, kind of anchor them to the ground. Okay, and just do the same thing with all 4 of these, and just place them pretty much anywhere you want inside there, just to kind of, you know, just to jazz it up, make it look more lifelike. I'm gonna pop one right here. Just throw a little bit of glue in there. Pick an end, doesn't even matter which end. And you know, hot glue may actually be a better solution for something like this since it's so small. Okay, but I can do it with any kind of glue. Okay, and then you can always take a dowel with an even thinner diameter, and you know, give it a tighter curl depending on what type of look you want for your tendrils. I don't want to mess with this one too much, but you'll see here I'm curling it like that, and then you can just give the little tip of it a cute little look. Okay, so just want to be patient and make sure that that is all nice and glued in place, but you get the idea there. Do the same thing to the rest of these, and this thing is ready to go. So that's really going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We just hit 50,000 subscribers, so thank you to each and every one of you. And if you make this or anything from our newest bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. It's the official Dreaming Tree group on Facebook, where I think we have almost 40,000 members now, and there's always stuff being posted. Sometimes it's, you know, things that are made as we've designed them, and they're just recreated, but we have a lot of people that, you know, take and mix and match elements, or for example, there's a lot of dreamers that have made the latest haunted house, but like a Christmas version. It's really cool. So anyway, that's going to do it. Happy harvest, happy fall crafting, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.